Hi guys, welcome back to the Small Barn Workshop. At the moment I'm making some wardrobes for the guest bedrooms. You may have seen me struggling to crosscut the melamine face chipboard in an earlier video, and today I'm going to be concentrating on machining the toe kick recesses and also a little recess at the bottom to effectively make two legs so I can plumb the wardrobes when I fit them. So I thought it would be good to show different methods of cutting these toe kicks just to give some variation. So let's get on. So the first thing I need to do is mark one out and show you what I need to cut, and then we can go through the different methods of cutting them. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is form my toe kick, and for these I'm making them 70mm deep and also making them 80mm tall. The reason I'm making them so small will be explained in a future video when I put these together. Draw the 80mm line all the way across. Strike that 70mm line up there. That is our toe kick recess. Now, on some of these, I've got a double toe kick. I've got one at the other side. Not on all, but on some. So I'll factor that in for this setting out. So that looks like that. And then, as I said, I want to make a couple of feet, which then I can shave. Now these never really need to be that exact because you're never going to see them, but in essence I want it to look something like that, and cut that out there. The reason being is then when you stand these on the floor, if it's not quite plumb, you can shave off either here or here just to stand them upright. So I need to cut that, that and that out. This needs to be exacting, that needs to be exacting, that doesn't really need to be exacting. For the sake of neatness, it looks nice if they all match. Now the bottom panel is 18mm. I'll just mark that on. Gives you a little example of what the bottom panel will be. So that there is the bottom panel. So now I've got that marked out, I can make the first cuts. Now usually when I'm doing this kind of thing, I naturally reach for the jigsaw. It's just easy to do that cutting. I don't really like using jigsaws on MFC, but it's easy and fast. So for this toe kick, let's use the jigsaw. Okay, so I've got my Bosch jigsaw, and to get the best cut, I'm going to put a brand new blade in it. Never quite sure whether it's best to use an upcut or a downcut blade. It just depends on which side you're going to break out. None of this is actually going to be seen once the units are made. So if there is some breakout, it doesn't really matter. But it's nice not to have any. But what is important is your blade is nice and sharp. So let's go for the clean wood. Now these are DeWalt. I don't know whether the DeWalt blades are going to fit the Bosch jigsaw. Yeah, they do perfectly. Now what you could do to reduce some tear out, if it was critical, is to put some tape on, mark your lines on top of the tape, cut through the tape and then just peel the tape off. That usually leaves a nice cut. But for this, I'm not particularly bothered. I am, however, going to use my speed square just to keep the jigsaw square. So there you can see there's a bit of tear out there. And I suspect the other side is absolutely perfect. As I say, I'm not that bothered.
Mate, I ain't bothered!
Because it's never going to be seen. Doesn't mean, of course, that we don't want to do a good job. And then this little cut here. Sandpaper treatment. You look at the other side, absolutely perfect, no breakout. If you're doing it with a jigsaw and it's going to be seen, certainly one side of it's going to be seen, it's always best to choose your side so you don't get the breakout. There's nothing wrong with doing it with a jigsaw. Every kitchen unit that's in the house here that I made when we first bought the house was made exactly like I've just made that, because I didn't have the toolkit here that I have these days. So that is one of the sides. Okay, so this is the next one. I've marked it out exactly the same as the first one. 1, 2, 3 cuts. And for this, I'm going to use my favourite tool. If I had to do 1 or 2 now rather than the jigsaw, this is definitely what I'd use. However, as I think we'll find out, it's not the most economical way to cut them. Let's give it a go. Okay, we're working, and for this I'm going to set the depth to its deepest cut, but because I've set it to its deepest plunge, I need to be mindful that when I plunge there's going to be a lot of blade beneath this. I want to make sure I've not got any arms, legs, dogs under there. Okay, so as you notice, I just broke that piece out there with my hand. The reason this may not be the most economical way to do this is because I've now got to clean this out. And the reason that I set the saw to its deepest plunge depth was that by doing so, I had as little as piece to cut out here. If I'd have had it set at, say, 18mm, that would have been more pronounced, that curve, so there'd have been a lot more to cut out. Now, it's doing a perfect cutout job for a little Japanese pulse saw. Unfortunately, I've not got one, or I have got one, but like my tenon saw, it's got a spine on the back. So, as I've said before on this channel, I really like my little Irwin tenon saw. Okay, so that's the track saw, cut one. Took a little bit longer than the jigsaw. Certainly neater. Marking and cutting the first 2 out, as I just have, is okay if you've got a few, but if you've got to mass produce these things, if you've got a large project to do, then the best thing to do is to make yourself a template. And here I've got a rip of 6mm MDF. Because these are 600 wide, I'm going to cut myself roughly 600mm piece. 600mm. Now I could probably afford to freehand this. I could cut this out with a jigsaw, I could cut it out with the track saw, just to add a bit of variety to life. Oh, look at that, I would have guessed. I shall have to make the bandsaw cart soon. So one of the methods I was going to use was the bandsaw, but as you can see, just making the template, you have got to move it around so much, and actually you've got to mark it on both sides if you want a clean cut, because the actual body of the bandsaw gets in the way. You could set the fence up and cut the cut the cotix out very easily. Set the fence up and cut the toe kicks out quite easily. This bit here is quite tricky on the bandsaw. I'm going to ditch the bandsaw method now I've done this and move on to the next one. So I've had a lot to do, say a dozen. This is the way I would do it because it's the quickest and you only have to do the marking out once. When I used to work in the shop fitting workshop years ago, I'd have done these on the CNC. Always sounds really exciting playing with the CNC, and programming it was quite good fun. But once you programmed it and you was making 500 counters, then lifting things off and on the router and pressing start and stop button became a bit boring. Like I've already said on this channel, it was by far the most boring job I ever had. I was really excited when I got the position of a CNC router operator. The CNC routers were relatively new technology, but once I'd done it for a few weeks I was bored to death. So I'm using a copying bit in the router. I've got the bearing set so it sits on the MDF and then the blade is sat within the wood. I can actually afford to go up a little bit there. Again, what I need to be wary of is that I've got probably, with this cutter, I've got maybe 3/8 of an inch of blade out of the bottom. So you just need to be conscious of that, what's going on below the workpiece. Make sure you're not putting a nice router groove into your thigh as it goes past. Right, well, it was going okay. Not quite sure what I've done there. That's a Drew Fisher. Oh crap. Not actually sure what I did there. How did I manage that then? I must have just gone like that. Luckily it don't matter. That's the dimension that matters, that bit. By the time the bottom goes on, doesn't matter. Hey, we all make a mistake every now and again. Already thinking in my head it's quite tempting to edit this out. But why would I? We all make mistakes and that's one of them. Luckily, it doesn't actually matter what I've done there. But it's still quite annoying. Right, I've got one more to do. Let's see if I can do this one right. Fill my tea with rubbish. So I just did one final piece, which is a little half plinth that sat under the mid-span of the bottom. Make some wardrobes, they said. It'd be easy, they said. There we go. Done. The only thing with this method is we've still got that little corner to take out. So we can do that with the handsaw, we could do it with a jigsaw, we could do it with the bandsaw, or when we machine our toe kick out, we could actually just put that over the router table as well and just put a little curve on the back so it fits in there. If you've got lots and lots to do, and I mean lots to do, 70, 80 units, 200-300 carcass size, it's probably just as easy just to do that. Run the router, or probably in a pro shop, do it on the spindle moulder. So there you go guys, a quick video on various methods to create a recess for a toe kick, and also, I actually know what that's called. If you've got a name for that, let me know. So what do you think? Have you guys got any better ways to do that? If so, drop me a comment and let me know. And if not, I'll see you next week when hopefully I won't make as many faux pas. But it's important we share as faux pas, isn't it, guys? See you later, guys. Bye.
And don't forget to keep the workshop tidy. Thank you.